Hey Tony, how are you doing today?
Good. How are
I
you
just want
doing?
to say I'm fantastic, thank you. MultiVersus was my game of the year for 2022.
Awesome.
I
Oh,
loved it.
wow.
So many hours put into it. I am so glad you guys are back. How are you feeling though? Like, what's it like to be back at season 1?
Yeah, I mean, I think myself and the team are really excited about all the things that we have in store for players. There's a lot of work left to do, but I think that you know we're trying to build a game that players deserve at the end of the day. So, and I think that I think the foundation is really there now, and the netcode. We the amount of hard work that went into the game. I think with we rebuilt the whole game. With the netcode, right? It actually required us to touch every single asset in the game, and revisiting the combat. But all that's in service of making a game that players deserve, so that you can play easily with your friends online, right? And so we're excited about that. Just being able to connect friends together and having a really seamless experience with that. Because I think that we've delivered absolutely world-class netcode at this point, where not just for 1v1, right, but also for 2v2 and also any other combination of different types of players that we want going forward as well. So I think that we're really proud of that, being able to do that, and also be able to support a lot of new players as well. Like the most exciting thing is seeing all the players that really like these characters, and but they aren't into they aren't really into like a technical fighting game, right?
Yeah.
And that's why we delivered the Rifts mode as well. So I'm excited to have players take a look at that and see the characters interacting with each other, and having a mode that really supports all types of players, from players that are a bit more casual and they're just really like seeing Bugs Bunny punch, Batman.
Who doesn't?
And then to really more seasoned fighting game veterans that are playing through that mode as well, and all the learning opportunities from that as well, and us being able to deliver all the cool like cinematics and story, and all the little fun mini games there too. And there's a lot more coming on the way in the horizon too there, and lots of new characters. Yeah, and so we're excited. I'm excited to have players check out Jason for the first time. I think that's gonna be awesome. Yeah. So I think
have to say, it was quite a surprise in 2023 when you guys announced that you were taking the time to go offline.
Right.
What kind of made you realize that was something you guys needed to do, that you need to take the time to put into that?
I think that we learned a lot, right, in the open beta, and the goal here is to deliver the vision that we originally had, and we realized also that the team was very small at the time in comparison. And so we really needed to focus down on like, how do we create the best experience for players? And so, I mean, the netcode, I can't express how big of a challenge that was for us to tackle. And then on top of that, we switched from Unreal 4 to Unreal 5, and you can kind of see, I think pretty obviously how big of a difference the lighting models have made, the new character models and textures and whatnot. And our new combat engine really needed time to kind of like come together. So a big part of it was just re-looking at all of our learnings and trying to deliver the product that players deserved. And additionally, we were a small team. We didn't have great just content pipelines in place, right? And so now we've really focused down on that in the last year, and made it so that we can deliver things reliably and consistently, both from characters as well as content and new cosmetics, and just looking at the battle pass itself, you can see the value that's there in comparison as well. And additionally, we wanted the game to be nothing to be off limits, right, to players really. Right. So that's the addition of like, you can now earn Gleamium in the game. We're giving away Gleamium, which is our premium currency. And also delivering this PvE mode, which I think, when we look at it from our player perspective, I mean, it is about the characters, right? And like, how do we deliver that experience with characters interacting with each other, and all the really fun modes that characters, fans of these characters can actually expect. And so all those things are kind of the main reason. And at the end of the day, we just really want to deliver a game that players, would have a great time with, and a lot of players could have a great time with, and honestly, deliver a service that the players deserved at the end of the day.
I mean, from what I played in the preview, there are some really massive improvements. I would say the time has been very well spent. Like I'm very happy to be back. So you mentioned the content pipeline, and season 1 of MultiVersus. Well, the other season 1 of MultiVersus started off. It was incredible. Like it was character after character after character.
Right.
That was a lot. Is that something you guys are prepared for this time? Like, do you think that's the same sort of release schedule, or do you think it will be pushed a little bit back?
I think that we're going to give time to breathe. It's going to be reliable. That's the bottom line, right? And I think that it isn't just characters. We have a lot of maps planned well into the future, as well as a lot of new cosmetics, and delivering really great value for the cosmetics as well. So there's just a wide variety of different cosmetics this time around. And just low cost options as well as higher cost options. So there's just something for everyone this time around. And so that's kind of been our big focus. But also with PvE, we're going to regularly deliver really cool experiences on that side of things as well, that are super novel, and a ton of different events as well. So there's going to be a lot of events. There are a lot of events planned, and that's if you remember, originally we only had a few events total during that whole course of that. So now this time around, we just have a lot more things happening for players on top of the content that is coming in and characters that are coming in. That being said, characters are a huge part of this, and we have a really, really awesome plan for a lot of cool characters that I think that are going to be unexpected. I mean, we just announced a banana guard today. It just kind of shows you like anything is possible. Like don't worry. Like and also with Jason and banana guard, the big reasons why those were important to the team. Not only that, but we were passionate about it, and we had a lot of members of the team whose favorite movie is Jason X. Is that it really shows that we're trying to push the envelope for the types of things that can get into MultiVersus, and so I think I hope that players are excited about it. I think we are really excited about it, and I think that the experience that we're trying to deliver here, and the realization of these characters, that they actually play like you would think that they should play, right?
Definitely for Jason.
Exactly, right?
Definitely Jason.
Like we got the sleeping bag in there.
I love it.
It's so awesome. And so and we got the Jason X skin, the going to space skin. It's so good.
Awesome.
So a lot of that stuff is, we're just delivering a consistent experience, and also the netcode is going to make the whole experience just consistent, reliable. So that's kind of the big mantra on the team, is consistency and reliability across the board, and our combat models is designed to do that as well.
I mean, I have to say, when I went into the preview, I had the ideas of who I wanted in there. I was like, go on, Daffy Duck, please. I'm begging for Daffy Duck. And then Jason and Banana Guard, zero. Like, I had no idea they were going to be in it. I had no. That was a big surprise. How did they come about? Like, what's the thing on that?
I mean, I think that a big part of it is this pushing the envelope piece of this, where we, with Jason, it's our first entrance into horror. And what would that look like, right? And that's what's exciting about the different characters, and what excites the team is how do we push the envelope and make things that that you wouldn't think would fit, and that's in making it fit well, right? And that's kind of and everybody can be the judge of that, and like how well we did or whatever. But
really well, I'll say really well.
But it's not fun if it's not challenging, I think. Right, and so that's part of it, and also no joke, Jason X is some members of the team's favorite movie. So it was exciting for us to be able to do that, and like when we looked at what was possible, I think that kind of jumped out at us, and a sleep. I don't know. It was like, I think the thing that tipped things was the sleeping bag. When we prototyped that out, we're just like, okay, like let's just do this. This is too cool. And then Banana Guard is a passion project for sure. A couple members of the team effectively. And that's what is also exciting, is that anything is possible in the team. That's what makes it, fun to get up in the morning and get in and start working, right? Is when ideas can come from anywhere, and a few members of the team just went off and check this out. Let's do this, and that was totally. From my perspective, though, I love Banana Guard. I love what Banana Guard represents, and that anything's possible, and that we're still capable of surprising and making really fun characters. Yeah, and so Banana Guard is, I think, to me, is like a really fun character to pick up and play, and I think we got the personality down really pat on that as well, and so that's part of it. Is the character have like this personality, right? That we think we can embrace.
Yeah.
Can we do something that I think would surprise and delight players? And I think Banana Guard is absolutely adorable, and like it's not for everyone, right? But that's part of the beauty of MultiVersus. Like, we can make stuff that's not for everyone, but like for some people, like people really love it. Like some players are just gonna love, Banana Guard. Myself being one of those people. So to be able to support that and like be able to do that for players, I think like that's kind of the promise of MultiVersus. So those are, and there's also a lot more characters coming that I think are going to be really cool. So
yeah, I'm happy to hear it. You say anything is possible, and I am sure you are sick of hearing about this, but I know you're on Twitter. I know you've seen it. People really want Walter White. What is that possible, or is that kind of a pipe dream?
So Walter White, I mean, it's easier for us to get stuff from Warner, right? Because it is under the Warner's our publisher for MultiVersus. So third party is a little bit more difficult. There's legal reasons, right? And the other part of it is also it takes time to develop relationships with character owners, right, and IP holders. So we have a great relationship with Warner. We've been working with them for a number of years now, and with anything, I've been on both sides of it. I've been on both the IP holder as well as the with MultiVersus, the borrower of these IP, right? And it takes time to kind of build up that relationship. And so that's to say it's complicated. Yes. But I will personally be pushing as hard as I can, and to make that happen, like everything to happen, right? Third party in general. But there's things that are I don't know if players understand, but like it's more complicated than
of course. Yeah.
It's not like a super straightforward process. So there's no promises there, but I will personally be trying really hard. That's what I'll say. Yeah.
And while we're doing character requests, I have one I did mention earlier, but Daffy Duck has to be in MultiVersus.
We got some team members, that
okay. As long as it's on the radar.
Yeah. So no promises there, but we'll see what we can do. Yeah,
I figured you'd say that.
Yeah.
I don't want to take this as a soft hint or a confirmation, but is there any character, let's say Warner Brothers, that isn't in MultiVersus that you're interested in? Maybe they're not in the pipeline, but maybe they're potential. Is there anyone that you would put straight away as number one?
I have my list. I have a long list personally, but I think that list comes from both players. I mean, our own team, right? And ideas can come from anywhere on our team, and they are influenced by players. But I have a long list of characters. I think I'll tell you a quick story, which is like which I've told a couple times, which is Velma, right? Velma, it was. You don't think like Velma should be in a fighting game, right? It's just not. But it's one of those things where I was just, I'm a fan of Velma, especially Mystery Incorporated. It's one of my favorite cartoons of all time. And then, I was just like, maybe we can get Velma in. She's just trying to solve clues, and so she's trying to find clues and solve the mystery, and she fights with words, right? And so I pitched that to the IP holder, and they were just like, okay, yeah, let's do it. And so that's how, Velma gets in, right? Like, it's because of sparks and ideas from the team that come out of it. And if we can come up with a cool angle, right, that we don't want to just add characters for no reason. We want to add characters that are going to do something to the roster, and so that's kind of like our criteria from our internal team. But the ideas can come from anywhere. For Banana Guard, for instance, just somebody who's just really passionate about something, and that can happen, right? And then we think that a lot of players would enjoy the character, and we can realize it. And those are kind of the main things. So that being the criteria, the list is just incredibly long.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and I want to shock players as well, like bring just pure surprises, and I think that's part of it too. So I can't get into details there. I don't want to make
of course I think
speculation, but that's kind of like the reasoning behind, and I think that's how we look at things, right? And from that angle. So just to give you some context about it. Yeah.
You saying about Velma Tony has made me think about Shaggy, and before MultiVersus was even announced,
right,
there were all the rumors, and I remember the first one I ever saw, and this was kind of what drew me in, was Shaggy being based on Ultra Instinct Shaggy.
Right.
Is that actually inspiration behind it? Like, is that what caused it?
Inspiration behind MultiVersus, or
just Shaggy's inclusion in it, was that kind
of yeah. I mean, I think that it is MultiVersus, and we want to have that concept to be really clear, right, to everyone, that different incarnations of the characters can happen in the game, right? But we have to be really clear about where the character is coming from, because there's like a popularized version of the character, and then there's this other version of the character, right? And we want to make sure that players understand where the character is coming from, and that we're true to the original source of the material there. So for us, it was harder to make a gameplay hook that wasn't Ultra Instinct for Shaggy, right? If you just look at it from a development standpoint, you're just like, this is a fighter, and this is, let's just call Shaggy not a fighter. So it was easier for us to go one way, not just easier, but also like this deserves. And when you look at it, like Ultra Instinct Shaggy versus, sorry, don't use that. I think that might be copyrighted. Yeah, versus Superman is like really compelling to the team, right? Who would win that? So that was kind of like the reason why we went down that road. So
it worked. It drew everyone in, and I loved it. So it was fine. It works.
Yeah, we like Shaggy's still one of my favorite characters, and I switched off of maining him, but he was my main for a long time.
I'm Steven Universe all the way.
Oh, awesome! I think you're gonna like Steven this time around too. So yeah, so pretty cool.